which now allows us to be joined by my friend and now co-worker and colleague at First Things First, Nick Wright.
Hey, buddy.
What's up,
How's
my
it
friend?
going?
It's going well.
I really liked your top 10 teams.
Thank you.
I think it's really cool that you were able to just run back the exact 10 teams you loved last year and just add the Washington to it.
No.
That's all your teams. Yes, every single one. You're doing the same thing everyone's doing.
No.
You know who's going to be good? The teams that I thought were going to be good last year. This is your same list as a year ago.
Okay.
At this time of year, plus Washington, 100%.
I did not have the Eagles at 1. I did not have the Eagles winning the division last year. I was very wrong about Dallas. So the number 1 team, I'm going to honor the Super Bowl. I do have a lot of respect for the Bengals and the Niners to bounce back. You can admit it. It's a perfect list.
Okay, so let's talk about the 2 teams, because I do find it interesting. The 2 teams that weren't good last year that you think are going to be good this year.
Okay.
Because I have different teams that, and your total abandonment in faith of the Bears is a topic for another day.
Not a homer.
Why will this season be different for the Bengals than last year? What's one reason?
New defensive coordinator?
I don't know that it's an upgrade. I mean, I guess that's the hope. I feel like the Bengals, I don't know how their offense can't be better than it was.
That's right.
And so maybe it stays equal. I mean, you are more in the mainstream than I am on the Bengals this year, because most people seem to think they're a real threat. Last year was an aberration. They'll get back to being a contender-ish. But I don't see why I would believe that. I think the defense is maybe going to be worse than last year, with Trey Hendrickson not there right now. I don't know that they had an upgrade at D coordinator, and the offense played basically perfectly last year. I feel like the Bengals have the exact same plan they had a year ago, except now the guys are more expensive, and we're supposed to think that's going to make them better. I don't buy them for real.
Well, listen, that if you score that many points, historically, you're just supposed to be much better. I'm not saying that they're going to win the Super Bowl with a terrible defense, but if you've got a great offense, you're supposed to be a better team than last year. I figured your biggest beef was going to be with the Niners because of your just unrelenting, unflinching stance and hatred of Brock Purdy.
Well, it's not hatred, but there are certain things, it's so interesting and I asked this question this morning on What's Right, the podcast, which is, at what point does someone's public perception shift from being a hater to being correctly skeptical? So the reason I did not buy into Brock Purdy when he nearly won MVP and got his team to overtime of the Super Bowl in 2023 was very simple, in that, you know what? I thought it was such a stacked team with such a brilliant play caller that I had real questions. What would he look like if some of those pieces chipped away? And then, by the grace of the sports gods, we got to see exactly what he would look like if he didn't have all those weapons. And the team finished, in last place in their division, second to last in their division, won 6-7 games. And now everyone's just wants to pretend that didn't happen. And you are more optimistic about the Niners this year than I am. You're right about that, because I thought one of the reasons people, and credit you for not being one of them, it seems, are buying into the Broncos so much is because of 2 Niners defenders that they took. The Niners defense lost massive personnel at each and every level. The wide receiver room right now is super banged up, and they are desperately relying on Christian McCaffrey, who's awesome, but a huge injury risk, and the oldest tackle in the league. And so a lot of folks' rationale for the Niners is they won't be as injured as they were last year. And my answer is, well, they're not as deep as they were last year. And I do think they are one of the more injury risk, higher injury risk teams. So no, I'm not a Niners believer for the second consecutive year.
With Kyle Shanahan, Christian McCaffrey, when they play together, not that Kyle Shanahan plays, but when McCaffrey plays for Kyle Shanahan, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They win 75% of their games. They're 23-8. When McCaffrey is out, they're 8-12, and he's worth about 4 points per game. It feels to me like that coach with that player is a cheat code, which is why I am going to still believe in them. But if we're going to just react to my lists, I know you want to, and I know we've done it on FTF. We've done it on your couch. We've done it via text and group chat. Explain to me why Justin Herbert isn't the 5th best quarterback in football, because he passes my beautiful eye test.
Yeah, I mean, just because when you are as close to year 10 as you are your rookie year, when you're the same college recruiting class as Nicky Bosa and the same draft class as Justin Jefferson, you have to be judged on what you've actually done, not what you theoretically could be. And what you, Justin Herbert, sycophants, and I think he's a good player. What you guys all refuse to admit is, for most of you, 3 or 4 of the last 5 years, you have gone into the season not just talking about how good Herbert is, but how good the team is.
That's true.
How dangerous the Chargers are, how stacked it is. And then the year ends, they're mediocre, he's bad in the big spot, and everyone's like, he needs more help. You said it. Last year, they had the #1 defense in the NFL. They had a good offensive line with now the highest paid left tackle in football, Joe Alt at right tackle. A great coach. And he could not get out of his own way against a Texans team that was dying to be beaten.
Interceptions off his guys' hands, Nick.
You're not kidding. You're not serious. You're not serious.
2 of them were.
He was awful. He was awful
he was bad.
In that game.
He was bad.
And here is, to me, and I'm not, known as a Jalen Hurts guy. But what I do think is fair is last year, the Chargers asked Justin Herbert to be the quarterback that Jalen Hurts was for Philadelphia in 2022 when they made their first Super Bowl. We're going to run the ball. We're going to throw it sparingly. We're going to play great defense. Don't turn it over. And 3 or 4 times a game in the playoffs, make big plays. And Jalen Hurts executed that exact playbook almost flawlessly to the tune of playing neck and neck to Mahomes in the Super Bowl. Justin Herbert was asked to do that and had one of the worst games of his life against the Texans, and folks just want to pretend it didn't happen. We've seen Herbert play in 3 either playoff or winner-take-all games, because the Week 18 game against the Raiders a few years ago. And he has been bad in all 3 of them, and he's 5 years into his career. I know he's talented. I know he throws a beautiful ball, but at some point it has to be about what you've actually accomplished. And even though I'm not the biggest Jalen Hurts guy in the world, having Herbert ahead of Hurts and Stafford is mortifying. and it makes you question, why do we actually play the games? Like,
hold on, though. Hold on.
Why
real quick.
Score?
Real quick. If the trade was offered, Jalen Hurts for Justin Herbert,
the Eagles would say no.
You're out of your mind. You're out of your mind. The guy is more talented. He would be able to hand the ball off to Saquon Barkley just like Jalen Hurts can. And instead of the 1-yard quarterback sneaks, they would just throw the ball to A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith more.
Can I ask you, let's stay here then. Do you think, if we're going to play in this make-believe world, that last year, if Jalen Hurts was the Chargers quarterback, they would have beaten the Texans? Because I do. If that Texans,
why?
No, hold on. Because the only reason they lost was the 4 interceptions. Would they have
Justin Herbert? That was an outlier, terrible game. The guy threw over 500 passes in the regular season and had 3 interceptions.
Right, but Danny, that doesn't mean something. Danny, if you went before you go back to the first time you were filling in for Colin.
Oh, here we go.
If you had never dropped an F-bomb in the entire year of doing live radio, and then and then in the first hour of doing the herd, you dropped 3. Would that be bad luck, or would that be, ooh, the moment got to him?
You got to work on your Cowherd level analogies. That's not.
Okay, that's fine, but you follow, like, and so I don't agree with you that now, I do think that if you didn't have a team built yet, like that's a different question. Would the Eagles trade Herbert for Hurts is a different question than I am starting a team from scratch. What player do I think is more malleable?
Oh, wait a minute, though. Okay, but if we're doing a top 10 list, if every player was available to be drafted, 32 general managers, Justin Herbert.
I wouldn't take Herbert 5th.
But you
certainly wouldn't take him 5th.
You would take him before Jalen Hurts.
Maybe. Maybe.
Then he's better. He's better.
No. Okay, so he, at some point, again, the accomplishment must matter. That's first of all.
Okay.
And second of all, you can't, by that metric, Danny, though, who would you take ahead? I don't know if anybody would take him, if we're talking about for long term, would take him ahead of Jaden Daniels. And if we're talking about for short term, would take him ahead of Matt Stafford. So, like, you just love him. You'll never quit him. You've always loved him. And the audience needs to know, like, for some reason, you're a Justin Herbert guy. It's a weird thing, but it's fine.
All right. Speaking of a guy who is one of your guys, but I feel like he should be everybody's guy. Professional athlete works out in offseason I didn't know was worthy of a cover story. Like, why are people rushing to bet Luka Doncic for MVP? Like, I've seen the guy carry a team to the NBA Finals and average 33, 9, and 10. He already. I didn't know that public opinion on him had slid so much that we were doubting Luka Doncic, that I needed to see him intermittent fast. I guess I missed that.
Oh, you're watching too many old Justin Herbert at Oregon clips, because that's where the whole media's been.
That's insane.
Luka Doncic, in the span of 10 months, went from probably the first person named in the after Joker, who's the best player in the league discussion, to basically a past his prime fat alcoholic in the public eye. And it's really unbelievable. 12 months ago today, not a person in the world thought Shea or Anthony Edwards was better than him. And then prior to this cover story, it seemed like everyone had just decided Shea and Anthony Edwards were better than him. Listen, Luka had a down year. It coincided with the first major injury of his career, a truly, I think, traumatic event in being traded that shocked him and threw him off, and he was out of shape. But it came on the heels of the best season, regular and post, of his life, where, as you mentioned, he won the scoring title, averaged 34, 9, and 10, single-handedly led a team. I shouldn't say single-handedly, Kyrie was good, but, led a team to the NBA Finals and made his 5th All-NBA first team, which, for the record, is more than Steph or Chris Paul have in their career, and is only one less than Kevin freaking Durant, who's been unbelievable for almost 20 years. That's how good Luka is. But I do think it's noteworthy that he took it to heart that last year he was a little out of shape. It didn't go the way he wanted. And for the most notable part of that story, other than the fake news about his 42-inch vertical, was that the gym he has worked in every summer since he was a teenager did not have weights in it until this year. He just went there and balled, and then so now he brought in weights. So I think that is good. And now listen, is there a bit of osmosis of spending a few months around LeBron and realizing he needs to get in shape? Probably, but I'll give Luka credit for it anyway.
We've come a long way from Syracuse Providence postgame shows on WAER, my friend. I cannot believe that coming up soon. Yeah, but
I think your takes were better then. I got to tell you. I think we need to go back and get some of those tapes, unless there was some lacrosse player who had never done anything in his 5-year college career, and you're like, he's better than Gary Gates. I don't know. But yeah, I can't wait. It's going to be really cool to be working with you every day for the first time since, you know, in 20 years. It's going to be great. I'm going to love it, and it's going to be even more exciting when Herbert goes 8-9, and you're like, but actually, he throws such a tight spiral.
It is a very tight spiral. Nick Wright will be watching on First Things First. Thank you, my friend.